Support for the show can be you. Lux Media just relaunched the merch shop, and there's new stuff going up all the time. Go to shop.lvx.be, go snag yourself some threads. You can also go to patreon.lvx.be, sign up over there and get ad-free episodes and a 20% off shop discount every month. Ad-free, discounts, what more do you want? Seriously, what more do you want? Let me know.
Hello and
Welcome
welcome to
Alternate
f***ing
Casuals.
What makes you
fucking
casual?
it don't matter.
What you know,
Fucking
Hey, this release is coming to you late, so apologies for that, but I was out of town for a little bit. We're going to do it a little bit differently. Since I was out, we did have a pseudo get-together. We had Nathan and Isaac both call in to talk about the Fight Night cards that just took place. So let's get dropped in right there.
Yo, it's your boy Nathan from the Ultimate Fucking Casual podcast. Just calling in to leave my thoughts about the recent UFC Fight Night 254. About as expected, a fairly middling card, but there were some interesting results that I figured I would leave my thoughts about. So, first off, Kevin Holland. It serves me right that the second I sold my Kevin Holland stock, he actually comes through, but Kevin Holland wins this one over Gunnar Nelson, nearly scores a knockout at the end of the first round. Was his classic antics and goofiness. There was a point where Gunnar Nelson was like holding him up and he was just yapping at Nelson and just kind of making a joke out of the fight. So that was very entertaining. It's good to see him getting back in the win column. I was worried he was in position to potentially get cut, but he gets the win here. Lives to fight another day, so I'm sure we'll see him in probably like 5 weeks. He'll probably have a fight scheduled by the end of this week, if we're being honest. Moving up to the co-main, Jan Blachowicz loses a 3-round decision against Carlos Ulberg. Not as explosive of a fight as I thought. It ended up being fairly technical. The decision I was kind of mixed on it. I think the fight could have gone either way. I was leaning Jan watching it live, but kind of weighing that fight. It made sense that Ulberg, or not made sense, but it feels sort of like not a changing of the guard per se, because Ulberg's fairly old, but just an older name like Jan, who hasn't fought in a while, kind of gets leapfrogged by a guy who's been way more active. And so now Ulberg finds himself in a title position. We'll see what happens with the AP and Ankalaev rematch, but no matter how that fight goes, I would expect Ulberg to be one of the top names in the light heavyweight division going forward, to be in line for a title shot. So, and after that, we'll move on to the main event. Sean Brady defeats Leon Edwards by submission. It was the way he called it, not the round. I think Brady pre-fight said he would submit him in the very first round. That didn't happen, but he did get the submission eventually. Completely one-sided domination by Sean Brady. This sets up a rematch against the champion Bilal Muhammad. And interestingly enough, one of Bilal's only stoppages ever was against Sean Brady. So if anything, I feel like that says worse about Leon Edwards' striking skills. It is crazy how a guy like Leon, who's had such success, just completely can fall off the wagon in just a handful of years. He has back-to-back wins over Kamaru Usman, and then had a very middling win against Colby Covington, and is now out of, lost to Bilal, got dominated by Bilal, and then he got submitted. I mean, he's probably done as a contender at this point. Kind of sad to see, but also just that's the nature of the sport. So Brady now probably, if not first, maybe second in line for a title shot at Bilal. The only person I think standing really in his way would be either, I guess the only one would be Shavkat Rakhmonov. So we'll see what this way the UFC goes. They may leap Brady up just to say, or in the event that Shavkat is injured and can't fight. But I guess time will tell him. Either way, Sean Brady's here to stay. He's a really, really good grappler. He's very refined his skill set, and I think a fight versus him and Bilal would actually be good, despite the fact that two are very good at grappling. When you have two grappling-heavy styles, they sort of offset, and they end up having to be forced to strike. And yeah, Bilal is very high output. He did get that TKO on the feet against Sean Brady, so I would not mind a rematch with that at all. So those are my thoughts on Fight Night 254, and I'm looking forward to UFC Fight Night in Mexico, Moreno versus Usyk. So we'll call in with thoughts about that too. Peace.
All right, this is Isaac here calling in about the UFC Fight Night in London. Just starting from the top, gonna get my thoughts here. Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady. I mean, this event, or this main event, sort of highlighted the entire night of how it was. Just sort of not boring, but lackluster. Sean Brady looked phenomenal. One of the big questions going into this fight was, can Sean Brady's pressure overpower Edwards? And yes, it did. Edwards had some instances in the striking where he was able to keep up and land, nice quick shots at mid to short range. But Brady just sort of overwhelmed him, and I thought it was a clear win for Sean Brady. Looked good on somewhat short notice. And I mean, he's going to be moving up the rankings. Leon is probably going to be going down. And I think that's it as far as, title belt holder Leon Edwards goes, even though I do like him, but I think it's over. Moving down to Jan Blachowicz, Carlos Ulberg. I thought someone was going to get knocked out, honestly, with like how offensive or how good both fighters are offensively. But this is also sort of not boring or anything like that, but just sort of not that big. The expectations were a lot higher. Blachowicz did well, but and I actually ended up scoring it for him 2-1. But I mean, it was a close fight. You can't really say robbery either way. I'm probably a little bit biased there, to be honest. But this is good, and this is good for the division overall. Carlos Ulberg, fresh blood. He hasn't gotten a title shot yet. He gets this nice win. He's potentially one fight away from the title, or a title shot, rather. But yeah, he won. No one should try robbery, and we'll get some life in this division now. And then there was a few tidbits. Kevin Holland, his fight against Gunnar Nelson, he got performance of the night for that. There was a really nice knockdown he had with a straight right hand that he threw at the very end of a combination. I mean, it rocked Nelson down hard. But and it wasn't like Kevin Holland. There's still those obvious holes in his game, and the Gunnar Nelson was something that's been off for some time now. I was expecting him to blast Nelson away, but there was some competitiveness there. But I mean, overall, good performance for Holland. I mean, he got his win back, and hopefully he stays at 170, because I feel like this is his division. Moving down the card, I mean, Molly McCann retired, but I mean, not many people care about that. I'm just going to be honest. But yeah, overall, I mean, I'm glad London got a card, at a reasonable time for them. It was an okay card. It's definitely better than a lot of the Apex cards we've seen, but sort of lackluster. But there was definitely some important fights that took place in terms of the clarity of the division. But yeah, fun fight night, and we're gonna be looking forward now to UFC Mexico now, Moreno versus Usyk, which I'm pretty hyped about. But yeah, those are my thoughts for UFC London.
Just a reminder, if you want to get your thoughts in at any time about any topic, 833-589-7637. Totally anonymous, so if you don't tell me who you are, I don't know. But if immediately after the fights, if a bit of news breaks and you want to get your thoughts heard here, by all means, 833-LuxPods. So the guys already talked enough about the fight night card, so I just wanted to cover a few other things that did happen around the horn. A little bit of hipster stuff, you might say. So back on the 14th, One Friday Fights 100. I'd mentioned I always mention there's a ton of crazy knockouts, ton of fun fights on here. So if you just want some brutal Muay Thai, these cards are always worth a watch. I had highlighted Dennis Puric. He ends up dropping the ball in the second. A lot of serious questions are going to be asked of him based on what we saw. We did see a couple of guys get signed. That's what Friday Fights is, like the developmental series. And this guy, Shadow Mawin, he got signed. And the guy in the main event, Muang Thai, he got signed as well. A lot of great knockouts at the top of the bill. There is, I think by the time you hear this, it will have already passed, but One Friday Fights 102. And last thing is the 172 at the Saitama Super Arena. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Just going to cherry pick a little bit here. John Lineker makes his kickboxing debut. He's usually a Muay Thai fighter. Ends up dropping a split decision against Hiroko Akimoto. He was very clearly not prepared for the rule changes between Muay Thai and kickboxing, and it showed. Superlek, I figured out what the 9 is. His name is Kiatmu, and then the number 9. It's pronounced cow, which it means warrior. So Kiatmu is like well-rounded or versatile warrior. That's his brand name. Anyway, Superlek drops the ball in a totally lopsided UD to Nabil Anan. Anan is I forget sometimes this is MMA show. Sebastian Fundora, if you're familiar with that name over on the boxing side of things, he's like 6'6", fights at 155 pounds, or what would be lightweight in MMA. So that's a very interesting body frame. Nabil, he is 6'4" and fights at what would be bantamweight. So he's also a very slender man, but he looked fantastic. I picked Superlek to win just based on age and experience, but Nabil had the hunger and Superlek just did not. Moving up, Jonathan DeBella gets the interim strawweight kickboxing title over Sam A. That's like I said, they sell their names. Never know which is which, but that's like a nutritional supplement, I think. Anyway, DeBella, super crisp boxing. I reserve this marker for the elite few, and it's MMA or just like other martial artists that their boxing is so good they could just cross over to boxing and they would be a natural fit. I say this about Ilya Tapuria. I say this about Tom Aspinall, and I'm adding Jonathan DeBella to the mix. His boxing is amazing. I highly recommend checking him out. Adriano Moraes drops the ball, gets stopped in the first, just got caught clean and ground and pound. Tawanchai, the guy who had my fight of the year last year with Natawut, that was for Muay Thai. This was for kickboxing. So he was a dual sport champ, and he drops the ball here, ends up getting stopped. Like, he just looked completely out of his element for whatever the reason was. And in the main event, Rodtang, he just decimates Takeru. And this was a kickboxing. And word on the street is that Takeru was still doing hard sparring up to as recently as a week before the event. So very stupid move. He had a lingering injury. Rodtang caught him on it, and that was it. That was game. But Rodtang looked awesome, as he always does. So there you go. Let me take a little break here, and then we're going to throw some previews out for same format, telephone stuff for ESPN, fucking UFC Mexico on ESPN. Come on, guy. All right. Support for this episode is from Proton Mail. Do you get ads that come from something private you're emailing about, or do you see personal conversations become ads in your social media feeds less than a day later? There's a saying in the IT world, if you don't know what the product is, you are the product. I've been in IT for about 20 years, so I consider myself to be pretty savvy. Something I've learned about all of these free services that you should know is that if you're being offered free services like email or storage, whatever the case, it's because your information is harvested and sold to advertisers to sell you shit. You are the product, and access to you is the service. I've been using Proton services since about 2017. Back then it was just email. But Proton has grown to include VPN, storage, and anything else that you would need to keep your stuff private. You don't have to be hiding something to want your personal info to be secure. So stop giving your privacy away for free. These products are all hosted in Switzerland, where privacy laws are excellent, so you can bet your ass that your information is secure over there. Plus, you can use custom domains like, lvxmedia.net, for example, and you can run your operation like a goddamn professional. If you use this link, lvx.be/proton, you'll get 1 month for free when you sign up for Mail Plus, that's the mail and calendar, or Proton Unlimited, that's mail, calendar, VPN, storage, and the password manager. That's the tier that I use. If you sign up on an annual subscription, you get 1 month for free, and the savings go up if you increase to 2-year, 3-year, 5-year plans. lvx.be/proton, get 1 month free. Support for this episode is from Ramen Bay. Ever have that ramen craving hit hard? You know the feeling. Sometimes you want that rich, savory broth and those perfectly chewy noodles, but you don't have time for all the fuss. Well, say hello to Ramen Bay. They've taken the best ingredients for ramen and freeze-dried them for ultimate convenience and incredible flavor. Imagine, vibrant vegetables, flavorful proteins, and aromatic seasonings, all ready to rehydrate into a bowl of pure satisfaction. No chopping or long simmering, just add hot water and a healthy spritz of Ramen Bay. Because the ingredients are freeze-dried and vacuum sealed, they lock in taste, giving you a quick and easy meal that doesn't compromise on quality or flavor. So, the next time the ramen urge hits, don't forget Ramen Bay. It's your new, not-so-secret ingredient to a delicious, hassle-free situationship anytime. Hit up the Bay for ramen and chill at ramen.lvx.be or use code LVX10 at checkout. Get yourself 10% off every order and help us out a little bit when you do. That's Ramen Bay. ramen.lvx.be. Support for this episode is from Malwarebytes. In today's digital world, threats are everywhere. From sneaky spyware to intrusive viruses, your computers and mobile devices are constantly at risk. Losing your personal data, financial information, or even having your device held ransom is a nightmare no one wants to face. And that's why you need to look at Malwarebytes. It's the ultimate shield for digital life. Malwarebytes provides powerful, real-time antivirus and anti-malware protection, keeping computers and smartphones safe from the latest threats. For those with 10 or more devices, Malwarebytes has you covered. From laptops and tablets to smartphones, Malwarebytes family plans provide comprehensive protection you can trust. Don't wait until it's too late. Secure your digital world with Malwarebytes and get the peace of mind you deserve, knowing that your data and your devices are safe. Go to mwb.lvx.be and get 50% off your subscription today. Here's a little hint, you can reuse that code later down the line with a new account. Keep saving for yourself and help us out a little bit too in the process.
All right, so we've got UFC Mexico coming up, fight night in the capital. Starting with a headline, Moreno versus Ursig. A banger of a fight, I'm not going to lie. Obviously, Ursig coming off the 2 losses, one being to Pantoja, and the most recent one being a knockout loss to Kai France. Moreno is coming off a win against Amir Albazi. This is a tremendous matchup. This is a little bit of, old guard, new guard type of matching up. But Moreno, man, he looked really good against Albazi. I'm going to be backing him this fight. He had a lot of time off, rested a lot of his injuries. And Ursig, had that pretty decent knockout loss against Kai France. So we'll see. But definitely, if Ursig wins, Like it's believable. Like I'm not saying that Moreno's gonna run away with this or anything like that, but I am backing him. And then, man, this entire like undercard and even in the prelims, it is littered with good fights. One of the ones that like just stands out to me immediately, Manuel Torres, and Drew Dober. This is gonna be a barn burner. Manuel Torres, obviously, he's coming off that loss to Bahamondes, knockout loss. He also had a lot of thought coming into that fight. He can regain it right now against Drew Dober, but Drew Dober is gonna come with that heat. I mean, he's got power. He has a chin. This is gonna be, it's got barn burner written all over it. Hopefully, Torres can get that win. And then we move down to the third fight from the top, Gastelum, Joe Pyfer. Wow. Okay, this is actually tremendous matchmaking. Joe Pyfer, his stock was pretty high a few years ago. He's still actually pretty high. It's just I think he suffered one loss. But Kelvin Gastelum, obviously, sort of a legend. Never got to touch the belt, but he had his bout with Izzy Adesanya. That was really good. And he's always just one of those. If you can beat him, that's like a step up. Sort of like gatekeeperish, but it'll be at middleweight, which it'll be interesting to see because Kelvin Gastelum is a career welterweight. Except for the past few fights, he's had a few issues missing weight. But this is a tremendous matchup. I'm actually looking forward to this. Pyfer has very good power, but we know Kelvin can take a punch. But can he do it at middleweight is the question. So we'll find that out. And then, a few other bouts that are littered around here. Obviously, there's Raul Rosas Jr., a pretty good young prospect. Going to be hyped for him. He's a favorite right now going into this match. I don't really know where to put him too much, but I do know his striking has gotten better since his debut. So we're just going to have to wait and see, can he put up a performance in Mexico? Also, we have Lazy Boy. He's going to be opening up the main card. He is a super fun fighter. I can't really tell you if he's going to win or not, but he has dogs. He's going to be there to put an exciting fight, guaranteed. And then, obviously, we have people like Edgar Chairez, a very good fighter, and Lupe Godinez. I'm really hyped for that. That's in the prelims, but just want to keep an eye out for. But yeah, tremendous fight night in my opinion. But we'll see if it delivers.
Yo, this is Nathan from the Ultimate FM Casuals podcast, calling up live from Las Vegas, where there are unfortunately no fights happening this weekend. I picked the one weekend of the year, it seems, that Vegas doesn't have any boxing or MMA, but nonetheless, I am interested in the boxing and MMA coming up this weekend. On the UFC side, a couple of things to go over. We've got flyweight main event, Brandon Moreno versus Steve Erceg. Pretty interesting fight for that flyweight division as far as who's going to be up next for a title shot. Both guys were in the title picture at one point and have fallen away. Erceg has lost 2 in a row, and Moreno went on a bit of a losing streak as well, although he seemed to have kind of regained his championship hunger, and he's rattled off a couple wins. He's looking to move back into that flyweight title picture. Kind of tough seeing how this one is going to go. Erceg really shot up the rankings quick, partly because there's just not a whole lot of guys, in flyweight that could really hold a good contender spot when Pantoja just ragdolls you. But
You've been listening to the Ultimate Effin' Casuals, a Lux Media production. If you'd like to give your thoughts, or you need to let us know how terrible you think our takes are, you can duck us and text our anonymous line at 833-589-7637. If you want to stand on your business, send a voice message or send a voice note in WhatsApp, and we'll see if you're interesting enough to make the final cut of the show. 833-LUXPODS. If you prefer to hit us up on social media, the account name is LVX Media Net, all one word. That's on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, all of that bullshit. If you can't find us, chances are we're not on it. A lot of stuff gets cut out from the final releases, so if you want the raw audio, exactly as it's recorded, look us up on Patreon. LVX Media Net, just like everywhere else. Patreon's also where you could get some ad-free versions, as well as behind-the-scenes content. Even if you don't sign up on Patreon, you can still help us out if you check out our ad sponsors. Or you can leave a rating on whatever app you're listening on. Would really help a lot. And last but not least, you can check out the new merch shop, and new stuff is going up all the time. That's shop.lux.b. The metal intros by Anders Janhunen, the jazzy intros by Afternoon, the outros by Middle of Nowhere Beats, and for more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lvxmedia.net. That's gonna do it. No notes from me. Just enjoy the fights. Actually, fuck that. Notes from me. Watch Raul Rosas. He's fun. And go Brandon Moreno. I guess those also kind of count as parting words. Keep it locked. Ultimate Effing Casuals will be back in your feeds. There's a lot of stuff coming up. Next week, there's actually a pretty solid three-day run of fights. The PFL 2025 season's kicking off. It's the welterweights and the not lightweights. Feathers? Yeah, feathers. That's right. I'm getting better with these divisions here. Then that's on Thursday. Then Friday, one Fight Night 30 will be happening. And then on Saturday, it's Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy. So a lot of cool stuff coming up. Keep it locked. We will catch you motherfucking next time.